Trump just made it so that you can be jailed for a year for burning a flag? Well, not quite. Actually, not really at all. This executive order empowers the Attorney General to enforce laws federally when the destruction of a flag is involved. So, no new actual laws have been created, nor is there an additional penalty for burning the flag. But didn't Trump say people who burned a flag would get a year in jail? He did, right? Well, yes, he did. However, the 1 year penalty does not exist in the executive order. This may be like a verbal instruction to the Attorney General. So, what's the impact of this? Well, let's imagine for a moment that I'm Antifa. I decide to protest fascism and capitalism, despite not knowing what either term really means. And further, I'm in support of anarchy and some vague Marxist gobbledygook that wasn't real communism, something or other that I also don't understand. Where was I? Oh, yeah. In the process of all this, I burn a flag. What happens? Nothing. The EO has no effect because no new law has been made. You're allowed to burn a flag when you're protesting. So let's imagine that for some reason, some leftist lunatic pulls down an American flag from a building or grabs one out of the hands of somebody having a parade or demonstrating or something. In this case, we are dealing with laws that have been broken: theft, potentially arson if the flag is burnt, possible assault on a peaceful protester who was carrying the flag. These are all violations of law. So let's say that the local DA says, we're not going to charge these fun loving commies for being thugs. This EO then empowers the AG to charge for the actual crime committed: theft, arson, or assault. So, what's this have to do with the flag? Now, here's where I'm reaching a bit. Okay, I'm reaching a lot. Actually, I really don't know at all. However, here's my best guess. I think they're moving on the idea that it's a symbol of the federal government and the people. So therefore they have an interest in it as a symbol, excuse me. So why do this at all? Well, it's kind of a freebie. No matter what happens, Trump gets cred for no effort. The amount of people who would say, well, gee, I've been pro Trump all the way up until this point, and now I'm anti Trump over this one thing. Such people are pretty much non existent. So he loses no votes over this, no matter what happens. This is going to play well with conservative MAGAs and a lot of normies. It'll potentially gain some votes. It could be the difference in some races. It may get a few people out to vote in the midterms that might have otherwise kind of lacked the energy. It might be just a little bit of impetus that gets them going. Second, let's assume the enforcement mechanism of this works and it actually stands. Well, it creates a tool to go after Antifa and other chronic violent protesters in blue enclaves. If a flag's involved and they commit a crime and the local DA decides not to do anything about it, the AG can step in. Third, moving from the checkerboard to the chessboard, it helps protect people who might want to do rallies with US flags. Now, such rallies might be more likely to occur if it creates low cost incidents that can get leftist protesters arrested. In other words, if some righty organization marches in a leftist enclave and the left can't control themselves and go after the flags that are being carried, it's now a federal response to any of the crimes they commit rather than some local cucked DA. 3D chess. Now, I also think this is designed to be bait for the unhinged left. Some are not going to be able to help themselves, and they're going to feel compelled to video themselves burning flags. Now, this will help put the fire in the bellies of normies and the right and help them turn out for the midterms. And the please stop, for the love of God, stop segment of the Democrat Party will be suppressed. Every time the crazy left is cringe, the moderate left loses the vigor to turn out. Finally, 4D chess. Some Democrat candidates are really stupid. They will rail against this, creating sound bites that will be used against them in the midterms. For worse or better, depending on your view, some of these candidates will film themselves in a group burning flags, or they'll go the full Monty and burn one themselves. Imagine that in a campaign commercial watched by boomers and the silent generation voters. So that's my current take on how the law is interpreted. To be honest, I've read probably 6 or 7 different interpretations, and I'm willing to believe that I could be off on this, but I think the article I read that came up with this interpretation seemed to be the most sane. All the ones that are saying that there's an actual new executive order stopping flag burning doesn't seem to stack up against the actual verbiage of the EO. What I say, what I just described in this video, fits with the EO, but I think there are some other potential interpretations of it. If you think you have a better interpretation, let me know in the comments below and give me a source too, because I do want to learn about this if I am off base, but I think I nailed it. Please smash the like button. If you're not a regular viewer, check out my other titles. You will find things you will like. You should subscribe. And if you know somebody who might find this interesting, please share it with them. Thank you for spending time with me this evening. Hope to see you again in a future video.